Hello, welcome to Fully Charged episode 32 or something like that. God, we've been busy. Although the rate that we've been churning them out, it may well have been 5 years ago we started making these. They're coming slow and steady. But this one's about the pre-season, or coming up to season 23 of ETF2L. And I'm Sideshow, with me is Kado, AMS, and Dr. Phil from... are we going to say the top four seed of this season? Where's Sheepy? Why are you here, Amps?
Sheepy blows.
Oh, well.
Fuck.
I agree with that.
Fine.
Chibi, I'm agree with that, Amps.
Fine talk already. Maybe we should have Rimbo here instead then to represent their team. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the teams that are playing in this season of ETF2L, the roster changes that happened before the season, any news that you need to catch up with, and the maps and whitelist as well that are going to be going on in ETF2L season 23, along with general bitching. This is a safe space. No bitching is too much bitching, and we're going to be bitching like real bitches. But before we go on to actually talk about things that are relevant anymore, let's talk about top 5 and Ownage Squad. Rest in peace. Can we get some Fs in the chat, please? Light your candles. Has anyone got a candle? I don't have a candle.
Nope.
No? Well, raise your lighters in the air and put your Fs in the chat for top 5 Rocket. I'm actually really upset that top 5 Rocket folded. I think surely they should have been able to pick up a scout. I mean, it's kind of good that the players, some of the players at least. No, actually, it's only one, isn't it? There's only one player that's gone into another team.
Medico, I think.
So an absolute waste. An absolute waste.
Really like top 5 Rocket. It's so fun to play against as well. And really nice guys. Shame they folded.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're going to be doing for the next season or whatever, some of those players. You trialed Blitzer, right, Kaidus?
Oh yeah, we tried him for a couple of days. It went like after the first day we were quite impressed. Like I didn't expect a whole lot. I always had my conception of top 5 was always Medico and Opti. I didn't really know anything about the others, but Blitzo was pretty good. Like he wasn't quite right for us, it turned out in the end, but he was definitely good enough to like play in a Prem team, especially like Prem as it is now. I guess it's just a shame that I don't know. Top 5 kind of they really hoped that they could sort of things out. I think they were all kind of waiting. They were kind of in a similar situation to us, where they were like waiting for GF18 to surface, because he put up that recruitment thread and said he was looking for a team, but then he had to I don't really know what happened. He was moving house or he was changing his internet connection. He was just online and offline all the time, and it was impossible to talk to him. I think they were waiting for him to kind of give confirmation one way or the other before they decided if they were going to fold. And then by the time that they just probably like us gave up on actually ever contacting him properly, it was too late for a lot of them to find homes other than Medico.
Yeah, GF seems to have resurfaced for about a day or something, made a recruitment post and then disappeared again. I was trying to get in touch with him again recently and he just does not appear to exist. And when I was talking to the top 5 guys, they actually said, they didn't say they hadn't been in touch with him, they said that he wasn't available. So I don't know whether he told them that he wouldn't be able to play and then suddenly disappeared, or what really happened to him.
Yeah, like well, we never found out. Like Stark was speaking to him, he definitely said something like he was moving house or had to change his internet and he was offline for ages, and then whenever he was online he would just be like offline, online, which pointed to either being really busy or something wrong with his internet. But either way, that didn't happen, so rip.
Danger Dogs as well. You guys played against them in the Cup. They decided not to sign up for the season. I think Kratos is still banking on the Overwatch dollar, becoming a top Overwatch player, etc. But some of those players are still looking for teams and stuff, I think. But it could have been a top team. I think they rinsed you on a map, didn't they?
We never actually got to play them, not even in scrims. They defaulted the game against us because they couldn't play it on the night, and we were going to reschedule it for Sunday, I think, but they couldn't play then either, and then they just died before we actually got to play it, so it's unfortunate.
Rest in peace. But before we talk about that preseason cup as well, there's another team that has folded, and we have the Slayer in the chat in the show with us right now. Kaidus, why did you kill Ownage Squad?
Just never really liked them. They always piss me off. So I just thought, what I'll do? I'll just put all their names in a hat. I just thought I'll pull one out remove a player from my lineup and just like whoever I pull out of the hat, that's who's going to replace him.
Holy shit! It's a good job you didn't pick Morsey Fanshaw.
But no, like I don't know. We needed a Roma. Well, we needed someone to replace Ebasai. Originally, we were trialing Scouts, but we always kind of thought we'd try Drac as well. We just, we asked him if he wanted to try, and then it went really well. So we asked him if he wanted to join. Like everyone in this scene, the players, they have their own autonomy. It was basically his decision at the end of the day, And I don't think anyone should really begrudge him or us, Like he's a really talented player in a not equally talented lineup, and it's kind of weird in TF2. Everyone like throws a fucking fit whenever anyone does anything like kind of remotely ambitious. Everyone's just supposed to. I don't know. We call ourselves a competitive game, but then if anyone does anything competitive, then you're an asshole, and you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be here.
You get banned as a snake.
Yeah, you're a snake if you do anything like competitive in this competitive game that we play. So, TF2 community.
The Ownage Squad guys, I think, are trying to play in high or something like that. I think they've lost all passion to play without Drac. Turbo Monkey was waxing in my ear this morning again and again about how he's been fucked over on his journey to Prem. I had nothing but sympathy for him, absolutely. Nothing but sympathy, but maybe it's just not meant to be. But he was also getting rather irate at your comment, Kaidus, on Raptor being put into Planet Express because that's where he was trialing again. That was another one of his routes to Prem that was blocked off, but this time by Raptor. What do you think of that roster, guys? The Planet Express one. They bodied Publiclir in their games.
They're really good. I mean, it's like a lot of newer players. Like, I guess they're not that new as players, but like new to this level, I guess. Most of them, like especially like Damnesia and Pierce, are both really, really sick and hard to play against, at least for us. I mean, we're not the most constructed team yet, and we're not the best at, let's say, denying a roamer, but Damnesia is really hard to deal with, and he's just doing so much work, and Pierce is able to out-DM every scout that I ever put on our team. Even when I try to cut some and add some new ones, they still get out-deathmatched, so it just can't seem to beat Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce is really good. He's like the star of that team at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of upcoming talent in it, but Pierce is like, yeah, he's gonna be good basically.
He's the best in that team.
Yeah, I think so.
At least
I think
team-wise.
Captain General XD McRimbo has really stepped up as well. He's been impressing me with some of his performances. I think the flank for that team is going to play really well. But they do tend to play a really strange style, actually. They play like everybody in their team is together with both of their scouts to the front. They don't really seem to have a flank. So whether that'll come around and bite them in the ass halfway through the season once people realize, I'm not sure. But yeah, the team looks like it might be going places.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up on what you said, like, it's something we've noticed already in quite ridiculous ways. Like, we've pieced over them quite a lot of times. A couple of them have been close. Most of them haven't been remotely close. But something we definitely noticed is, like, we can just, like, go behind against them pretty much whenever. Like, we'll be holding last on Gully Wash, and Stark will just start a back cap a sniper. And this is, like, something that routinely is happening. It's not even, like a one-off. He's on last a sniper, and he's like, should I go behind a sniper? It's just, like, a genuine thing that he knows he can do against them. And it's just, like, over and over again. Like, he'll be spawn camping a sniper and kind of ridiculous things like this, so it probably is a real issue they have to like look at. But I don't know, as far as the teams go this season, it probably is the most exciting one in terms of like the roster they have. There's a lot of players on it that have like genuine talent, and they're not just kind of the same recycled players you tend to get in a lot of teams that float around like mid-prem or whatever.
Let's run through the roster for people then. So it's Raptor on Medic, they've got Iku on Demoman, Zoob is the pocket, Damnesia on Roamer, and the two scouts are Sheepy and Piers. So Zoob once again paired up with the band of rascals. And I saw Piers as well say that there was a quote on TFTV with him getting mad
Sheepy.
that Sheepy was giving their team such a bad rep. So maybe, do you think it's an explosive mix? Are they going to end up falling out halfway through the season?
I probably wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Shibi has his reputation and gives like an impression of himself as an absolute retard, but whether that's true or not, I think when he's in a circle of like friends or whatever, he's probably like, I don't really know firsthand, but I get the impression from talking to people, he's probably like actually not that bad a guy when you're in like a circle, and everyone has respect for each other, but then when you're in public, you're just being a dribbler. And I know that Zub and Sheepy have always been like, they're actually like quite good friends. When I played with Zub ages ago, he was always like talking like when we needed a merc, the only merc he would ever try and get was Sheepy. I guess like they've known each other for quite a while, so they have like at least a bond to base things on, and yeah, like quite a lot of I don't know like Pierre's on a personal level. I can see them getting along quite well. I don't think there's going to be that much like drama for them. It's just like Pierre's obviously doesn't like the shit Sheepy posts on the forums, but I mean, I don't think anyone in the fucking community does really. So
yeah, I think that team's gonna do fairly well. Let's take a look at Publiclir then. Run us through the roster of the motley crew that you've assembled for this season.
We got Atomic and Flip on Scout, me on Pocket, Medico on Roamer, Smear on Demo, and Serto on Medic.
What was the thought process when you were creating this team? Going from the team that was playing at DreamHack Winter, why'd you get rid of so many? Like, it's such a drastic change from the team that was playing then.
Like, you want me to go through why we got rid of these players, or you want me to go through why I wanted these new players that we got?
Are they mutually exclusive? Can you tackle both questions at once, Sam?
Well, Nation, I think he had this weird changing like mindset after DreamHack. Like, I thought he had a really good LAN. He was playing really good. He was putting up good numbers. And then right after LAN, he came up with this idea, or actually at LAN, that he really wanted to play Scout. And then I was really not into that idea. The rest were, like, Smear definitely wasn't into it. And we didn't really like the idea at all. So we gave him a shot at it. I went really emo. I ran direct hit for the whole game. We got rolled. Nation got mad. Didn't really work out. And then in the end, I just brought it up, and we were like, yeah, I think we want to get someone else. Because Nation was lacking some comms as well. It wasn't really easy to work together with him, and he has a very different...
His headset was broken? You're basing that off his broken headset game at DreamHack Winter, where he's lacking comms. I hope
No.
him.
I'm talking about games after DreamHack, where we were scrimming and trying out the lineups. But yeah, it didn't really work out with him. Playstyle differences as well. But and then Denia, I think, like, a lot of people don't think it was a wise thing to cut him, and I honestly will see if it was, I guess. But like, we, especially Seroton, felt that he was really random and he would really kind of do his own thing and not really have the aim to pack it up. Like, I'd like to compare it to someone like Nico, who would play this like really random playstyle and just be in all the time in weird situations, but he would still make it work because he just nailed every shot and he just won everyone, right? But Denia, like, he has a very similar playstyle in some ways, maybe not as extreme, but something like that. But he doesn't really have that kind of insane aim that, backs that kind of playstyle up. It might have been just because we had a different scout with him every night and stuff like this that obviously affects it. But I think we're way better off with Flip, and that's what I look at. I don't really look at whether Denia was good or not. I just look at what we have now and how much better it is, in my opinion.
Wait, people gave you shit for replacing Denia with Flip.
Well, yeah, some people
They said
do.
you shouldn't have done that.
Some people do, yeah.
It's
I think
like,
they were looking at the performances like straight afterwards as well, though, because Flip was really rusty and playing like pretty horribly actually when you first picked him up. But I think as a player overall, he'll soon get to the level where he'll be playing.
he's
better
already
than Denia was.
outperforming Denia on Scout by a mile. Like, I don't know, maybe I've only seen him in these good games, but he's already played a lot better than Denia probably ever has done on Scout
We
at
get
least.
the
So
Machina through the pocket,
maybe
picks on
not.
the medic.
Who knows? But I mean, like, what did that win them? Like one map in an entire LAN, so against like a legit team. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. Denia's not the worst player in the game, but Flip, like in Flip's prime, he was the best scout in Prem probably. Like in that pre-I-52 season, what was it? It was like Flip, and then on Epsilon, the team, I can't remember what scouts Epsi had then, like Bash and Kyler.
Bash and Carla, yeah.
Like Flip was, before he quit, like leading up to the LAN, Flip was the best scout there was in Europe at that moment, like in form anyway. And if he can get anywhere near that form again, it's going to be like, yeah, he'll be up there again. Like the scout talent pool at the moment isn't really like that amazing. I mean, it's gotten better with like peers coming through and like Sheepy playing in Prem again, Stark staying on scout, things like that. But I mean, even with those names, Flip will still he'll be up there. Like he'll be in the pool, like just behind Stark. Like Stark's head and shoulders above the rest, and Flip could easily be like, second, third, fourth, like best scout in Prem if he gets anywhere near the form he had before, maybe even more. Like legit.
And he's a joy to play with too, really. Like every minute that I play with him, he's just been like the perfect teammate essentially. I mean, he's lacking some comms maybe sometimes, and his maybe doesn't understand everything you tell him like perfectly, but like as a person and as a teammate, he's just lovely to play with.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like his English might not be great, but he's really smart. Like you don't always think people are smart when they don't come because you don't really know what they're doing half the time. But the thing I noticed with Flip when I played with him before was like I never had to like tell him to do this or do that. I mean, sometimes he'd want to run like a set strat, he want to do something specific, and maybe he wouldn't do it because he didn't understand the call. But I imagine the way you guys are playing is less set strats and more just like we have like a rough plan of how we're going to play. Flip's on the medic, and if you just give him a role like that, he's going to do it like perfect 99% of the time. So I really don't like. I didn't see people saying this about like it was wrong to remove Denia, but like I guess that just goes back to what I was saying before, where if you show any kind of fucking ambition in this game, you're ridiculed for it. But I mean, it's a really smart decision, to be honest.
Talk to me about Atomic and his role on the team, because I've noticed that whenever I've been watching streams of you guys, he seems to be almost main calling for you on that scout role.
Yeah, no, in the cup we got him in as a trial, and I was having a night where I was getting being my moody self. I wasn't really calling maybe enough as much as the team needed, and I wasn't really on my game. So this trial scout that we got in just started calling so much, and he was just like running around getting frags, calling like like some people in our team, like certain really disagreed with some of the things he called, and he thought they were like really ambitious and over aggressive and stuff like this. I didn't really look at that though. I more looked at how he was so into it, and he was really wanting to win, and he was getting he really had the DM to play. So like that's just why I thought he was really impressive and also really enjoyable to play with, because he clearly it was important to him to do well, and he was pretty much carrying us on comms that whole night, even though we weren't playing that great overall. But he was trying his best throughout it, even though there were some really desperate moments. And yeah, I just saw a lot of potential in him, because I didn't think like he's just this, before he was just this Latvian guy who had good DM, right? And he was just playing in 425 and doing really well, and maybe playing a bit dumb at times and stuff like this. I was expecting another Shadowburn who would just sit there, be quiet, frag things, but he came in and he called more than anyone else on the team, and he tried his best and did well. So I think that's why we chose to keep playing with him. And these kind of like playstyle differences, like Serotonin disagreeing with his calls and stuff, these can be changed, and we can choose what we want to do, what kind of way we want to shift to in terms of playstyles and what we're going to call. But just the fact that he was there in the first place just means a lot to us, I guess.
I've never really seen Atomic call like that on other teams, but I haven't really seen him play in an English team for quite a long time. So I don't think he used to call like that back on Planet Express when he played for them for a little bit, and I have no idea which teams he even played for before that. I can't even remember that far back.
The Devil's Rejects.
Oh, right. So nothing even where he would be
that
on
was
the
like
radar.
Division 3 with Loco in like 2010,
Yeah.
man. I was like, no idea.
But yeah, he sounds like a decent pickup. But you guys have quite a lot of experience on the team in terms of how the roster looks on paper. But the results against Planet Express weren't that promising. And then how have you guys been scrimming into the actual season, which starts pretty shortly on Sunday?
It's been a lot better. There's been progress every day. Like I think it's kind of funny how I've tried really hard to like get this solid roster around me and potentially try to contest the top 3, at least the top 4 spot, get into playoffs. At the moment, I really think that the main reason why our team is kind of maybe underperforming or not doing as well as it should is just because I'm not up there at the moment in terms of DM. And I get carried away really easily like before, but like last season I would do fine even if I would go for this kind of play like really overly aggressive and do stuff like this. I would do fine because my DM was a lot better than it is at the moment, but at the moment I'm not making it work at all. And I think that once I get up there and I'm actually able to deathmatch and call and not do this kind of weird shit all the time, I think we're gonna be doing a lot better. And once me and Smira kind of blend in more as core as well, on top of that, I think it's going to get a lot better. I think we've got the right players. We can craft it into something really good. I just got to get my shit together, and Serotonin needs to stop dropping Ubers to damn easy.
Ams, if you're watching Fully Charged with Twitch Rechat, don't worry, dude. I think your Ubers are doing well. You're doing great.
The best of Ubers.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and you have played with Serotonin before in TLR. Was it TLR? Yeah. and so you'll be attempting to get that cohesion back. Let's talk though about another team who are probably the newest team to Prem if you want to create a sliding scale. The DDF 5 plus 5 friends, or whatever the bollocks they're called. They were called Two Teeth T-Rex last season. That's the easiest way of talking about them. And due to, really, we'll be honest, it's due to a lack of teams signing up. They've just got straight in. They didn't have to prove themselves in a playoff or anything like that. But they were also being fairly competitive in the cup, albeit on different maps. But they essentially have very little experience in their team. Have you guys played against them?
Yeah, we've played against them.
Any of you?
Yeah, we played against them in the cup. They're probably the most triggering team I've ever played against.
They play
have
so
this,
passive, holy shit.
Yeah, and they have this roamer guy who has this shiny ass unusuals and shit, and he just keeps jumping at you with his fucking shovel, and it makes me shout. Literally, it makes me so mad. And then on top of that, they just have this feeling guy who goes on TFTV and writes about how we lost even though we had a top Prem scout merc, Havicool. Oh, I've never been so upset after I lost to them in that cup, but gladly we took it back in the next one. But no, they're really good. I think like for being like all really new players, I think we were all really impressed by playing them. Like before that game, I told everyone on the team like these guys are good, and we need to treat them as really good opponents and play your best against them. And I think we still underrated them the first time. The second time we didn't. It was still a really close game. But it's just, I mean, you have these new players come in and just do so well against these rosters with a lot of experienced players. It's always really impressive to see.
They lost the Ownage Squad in high, and then they lost to Force Kings and Top 5 as well, the other teams that were going to be going into Prem. So I wonder if those teams had stayed together, would we even be seeing this team in Premiership? I kind of doubt it. I think they would still be in high, but they're going to be an interested in addition to Prem. I heard a rumor, the news on the grapevine was that they're going to be cutting Schoberg. I don't know how accurate that is. Something about his work schedule, even though he is probably the better of the two scouts that they currently have. I was talking
probably
to
one of the better
Squad
players
guys.
overall.
Yeah. So
that's the question I got anyway. Like, we only played them once, but like Schoberg was the only one that really stood out to me, other than the Roma with the Market Gardener. We won 5-0, 6-1, and the one round they got was Perm dropping to Market Gardener. But like Schoberg, yeah, he's like,
I think
especially
the scouts actually pretty good, both of them.
Yeah, from playing Pugmy as well, like Schoberg has like stuck out on that lineup.
yeah, I think he was one of their better players, but I'm not sure how they're going to do. Honey seems to deny it in the chat. He said nope. I'm not sure what that was referring to, but possibly aimed at those allegations that they might be cutting Schoberg. But we'll see what happens with that roster anyway. If they had to pick up a scout, though, there are scouts around that level that they would be able to fill the roster with. I think there's only really a vacuum in the scout talent kind of right at the top. I think they'd be able to find somebody to fit that roster.
We can take Lupus.
Yeah, they could take Lupus. He might cast a spell on them and they'll end up 4 for 27.
Yeah.
There's like good scouts out there. It's like, I mean, we tried a bunch like Blitzos and Flippy's even knocking about. I don't know what Flippy's doing, but he's been like playing lately.
Flippy is back up for us, at least right now.
Maybe he has bigger dreams.
Maybe. Hope not.
Yeah, Beaven was like playing as well. Like, I don't know. I got the impression Beaven wanted to join a team this season. Not so much like in the last few weeks, but like over Christmas, he was playing and like asking me questions and shit about like teams looking for scouts and all this stuff.
He also wants a trial for Lego, but then he kind of disappeared for a while.
He was super keen. He asked me a few weeks ago if we were looking for a scout because that article came out saying that Thalash was trialing for Reason. So he was like, "Are you guys looking for a scout? I really want to play this season." He reckoned he was talking about how he felt he really underperformed at DreamHack Windsor and wanted to get back up to what he felt was his previous level back in the sands of time. What would that be? Season 12 and 13? No, a little bit later than that. I don't even know what season that was in. Where he was playing at the top.
When did you talk with him about this?
A few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Like, we were like really keen on getting him in, and he was trying for us a lot. And then the latest I talked with him was maybe like about a week ago, and I asked him if he wanted to trial again, because we were like waiting on him to get information about his work schedule, because that was like the only reason that would stop him from being able to play. And when I last asked him about it, he said it was fucked and he wouldn't be able to play online, but he could still make Gamers Assembly. And then the last I talked with him a couple days ago was him asking me if we need a scout for Gamers Assembly at all, but he would only be able to play a couple weeks before that LAN and for that LAN. So that's the latest information I got about him. I don't know if he was just lying to me because he doesn't want to play with low Saints, but...
Yeah, potentially. But do you think this DDF plus 5 friends, I'm just going to call them Two Teeth, but do you think Two Teeth are actually going to have an impact, or are they just going to be wallowing at the bottom this season?
Wallowing at the bottom, based on what I've seen anyway. Like we only played them once, and I imagine going from high to playing like last season's winners is probably a bit weird. So maybe they didn't play their best that day or something like that. Like I've seen that happen before. I don't know if it's actually the case, but yeah, my immediate impression is the rest of Prem is like a step above at the moment. Like maybe like them and Infused will probably be chilling around the bottom, I would imagine. But like even at the bottom, it's not like a huge skill drop off, and then there's like one team. There's a couple of teams around there. Like they could definitely like get wins against some of the other like newer teams. But I think like kind of the established teams like us, Full Tilt, Lego, they'll probably struggle.
Yeah, I can see them potentially causing an upset against Planet Express or Publiclir. I wouldn't really call it an upset if they took maps from Infused. Even Force Kings, I wouldn't really call it an upset, given that they were kind of on the same level as them coming into this season. But I can see maps being traded this season where they wouldn't have in the previous ones. I think the skill level below the top, well, maybe even in the top 3, I'm not even sure, but yeah, the skill level in the mid and bottom end seems closer than it has done previously.
It's very politically correct of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's address that point a bit more then. It's because they're shit. It's because they're worse than they have been in the previous seasons. It's a big drop off in skill, let's be honest, compared to season 22. The teams that have left have not been replaced with teams of relative skill, unless Planet Express and Publiclir step up their game to the point where they're competing with Full Tilt and Lego in regular games, which they may do. But the rest of the teams sat at the bottom will have to increase proportionally in order for it to be a competitive season. Otherwise, they're just going to get left behind. Because, in my opinion, teams like DDF plus 5 and Force Kings and maybe even Infused, but they have much less room for improvement than Planet Express and Publiclir do, because they have less experienced players and they've been together for longer. So I don't think you're going to see like an astronomical rise in their skill just based on them playing in Premiership.
I think it's harsh to put Forskins in that same group though. They've been around for what, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. It's been like they're
more
great.
Established team.
Yeah, like they've been steadily improving and improving. I don't see why that would stop now. Like if
have they actually though? Have they not just been around this top high level for pretty much the entire time?
It.
No, they won it. Yeah, but they came like 4th last season and they were like 6th the season before. It's very, very gradual then, if that's the case.
Well, they went from 6th, and then the second season they made playoffs, and the third season they won it, and now they're in Prem. Like, why wouldn't they improve? They're going to start surely they're going to start PC. If they're PC going at least, if they're practicing, it's like you move into a different bracket, you start practicing against different teams, better teams. Like we never played them before, we haven't played them still, but I think that's just because they haven't been playing much. But I would expect they will be winning games against the Prem teams. And when you do that, just naturally you get better because you're seeing these bad players that are better than you play, and you're having to adapt to them. It's just something that naturally happens. I think they have more potential than the other the teams I consider at the bottom of Prem. I'd say they probably have the most potential to improve, at least long term. I mean, the brand new teams, they're gonna improve quickly for a while, and then it might all go to shit, or it might balance out, or they might be they might be a team for the future. But with Foreskins, you at least know they're stable, they're solid, they continue to improve over 6 months or however long. So I don't see any reason why that should stop now, especially since there's a lot of teams in Prem to give them confidence. Sometimes it's you come up from high and you're by far the worst team in Prem. You're just going to get beaten up all season. But for these guys, they're probably going to get wins. They're not going to beat the top teams, but they're going to get wins and at least have enough fun to enjoy playing. And when you're enjoying yourself, you're probably going to improve more than if you're fucking hating every second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Force Kings then as well.
I don't know anything about them. I'm just making this up.
Yeah, I have not played against them either. I didn't even play against them last season.
I haven't played against them for a while. I think I played against them in season. Well, I definitely played against them in season 20. I think I played against them in season 21 as well. But they always strike me as well as a team that really aren't playing that seriously. I wonder whether they really have the motivation to be able to improve in Prem, like you're saying, or whether they kind of get demotivated by being suddenly the smaller fish in a big. Well, I say a bigger pool. It's actually a much smaller pool than high, but higher skilled anyway. They do have some players with real drive, but they are at the core, I think, just really a kind of a band of friends playing together. They're unlikely to fold or anything like that, but I wonder whether they have really the drive, the motivation to try and succeed and become a truly top level team.
They probably don't have that to become a top team, but as we were saying before, there's kind of a large gap between number 1 in Prem and number 8 this season, so like people are going to improve naturally. Like I don't think they're going to suddenly become like playoff contenders or something, barring some like really weird results. But I think I'm expecting more of them than I am, say, from like DD5F, DD plus 5F, plus 5 friends, whatever the hell that fucking team's called. Just naturally, like I mean, well they beat them last season, so like they won high, so naturally, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And from Infused as well, they should be starting on a higher base level, I think, than those two teams. But yeah, they were the winners of High last season, got automatic promotion. They'll be going in. Their roster that they are playing with, or the one that they played with last season, I think it's the same, is Zangetsu on Medic. They have Sparry on Demoman. The Pocket is Wacky. Jackie Legs is on Roma, I think. I think that's the way around that they're sort of.
I think that's it.
And then the scouts are Sorex and Shulkipple, I think is how he pronounced it, but I'm still not sure. Shulquipple.
I remember Jackie Legs got really tilted when I kept saying Shulquipple. He did not like it one little bit.
But they have some keen players. Sparry obviously is a really top level demo man and could play in.
You can't really say they have keen players and then go on to Sparry. It doesn't really make any fucking sense. Like that guy's had the talent to be a top demo for about 5 years, but
and absolutely no
drive. He doesn't give a fucking shit.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of Sorex and Jackie Legs particularly when I said that, when I said keen players, but they also have individually skilled players in
Sparry's
Sparry
a
as well.
Great demo, but he just clearly has never cared.
Yeah, I think you can see like in the videos that he posts of like his highlight of the season as well. It's like his highlights of season 2021, and at the end there's just a full 10 minutes of them just messing around, just spouting like random shit to each other, absolute random stuff of him just using Taj and that kind of thing. I think a lot of teams last season actually really got tilted playing PCWs against them, so we might see the same kind of thing this season in Prem. Hopefully not. There's only 7 teams that you can PCW against, so hopefully one of them won't act like complete AIDS lords and be running Taj and charge to every mid or whatever.
Probably won't get many games then.
Yeah, absolutely. Tilt your opponents. So, we've mentioned them before as well, but Infused are back and they have picked up a new team, and it's again one of the ones with very little experience. Skeege is by far the most experienced player on the team, and then Hank, who's played Prem with Saints, I'm going to say maybe once, maybe twice, I'm not sure. But the other players on the team... Oh, and Denier, of course, as well. They repairs up the scout combo from Saints in Denier and Hank. What are your opinions on Infused?
I haven't played them, so...
From a theoretical point of view, then,
I would
Dr.
say
Phil.
that their soldiers seem really heal heavy, at least from what I've seen. Like just playing them against them previously.
Who's their Roma? Can someone
Quick.
remind me? Quick is the Roma.
Quick, yeah.
Pocket.
Tiger.
Fire,
Oh, right,
like
yeah,
they're both so heal heavy normally when they play soldier, from what I've seen.
We played them once. I think they gave us we won it convincingly. I think we didn't think of losing it at any point, but it wasn't easy. They gave us a proper game. I think Hank and Denia have played together for so long that I think they're gonna make a solid Prem Scout combo. And I don't really agree with Quick and Roma though. I don't think that's the role he should be playing. You'd still see him on Badlands. You'd see him just jumping their own train and just waiting for air shots and doing stuff like this that you don't really see roamers do on these maps. I think Tiger's really good. I guess he's kind of been around for a while. He's been this potentially really good player who's merked around a bit and stuff like this, but never actually had a proper team. He has like really good deathmatch, and I think they should do fine.
He has been kind of like a player around with potential for quite a while, but he has never stuck it out with the team. I don't know whether he's really been given the chance, actually. That might not be fair to put the responsibility on him for the fact that he hasn't had an opportunity to stick it out long term with the team, and this one might really be like a breakthrough season for him. But he also lacks quite a lot of experience at the top level in terms of like his own play style as well. Not just experience in terms of how he reads the game, but he's quite. You can tell that he hasn't played as well. His pocket is lacking quite a few core concepts. He makes quite a few mistakes in the way that he plays pocket, and I think when he's going to be sharing a lot of the heals with Quick, trying to play the exact same style that he does, that's not really going to help him become the player that he potentially could be.
Plus, he lost to his dad in MG.
Oh yeah, that is true.
That has got to hit hard.
I think Skeege is probably taken. I don't know. I feel like this is a team that Skeege has probably like put together and like seen good DM, and is maybe I don't want to say overestimating his own abilities to kind of control control a team, but like maybe underestimating how hard it can be when you don't have like a really solid core to your team to kind of train up like these kind of like newer players. You know what I mean? Like Skeege can definitely control a team, and he can call, and he can like track the game really well and tell people what the right thing to do is in this moment. But looking at that roster, like the scouts are okay. Like Hank and Denia, like they're solid. I think Hank's improved quite a lot in the last like year or so. He was always kind of like a really weak link on Saints before. I actually think he's pretty decent these days, and he'll do fine. Like the scouts are fine, Skeege is fine, but I feel like the heavies as a whole, like none of them really have like any experience. I don't really consider any of them to be like a solid player. I mean, they may well turn out to be, but I feel like all of that combined with the fact that like I don't know this for a fact, but I'm told from several people that Tiger can get quite heated in game, and I know that Skeege can get quite heated in game, to say the least.
To the least, yeah.
Kankazoy!
Like I could see this potentially going tits up within a couple of weeks. Like I really hope it doesn't, and a lot of this is based on like hearsay and what I hear from people, but like I hope that there's like something more to this than immediately meets the eye, because I feel like between those three heavies there's just like there's not enough like not enough dependability to not drive Skeege fucking insane within 2 weeks.
I think he's taken on a big project here, if indeed it was his idea. As far as I'm aware, this was kind of Tiger's project, and he brought Skeege in, but I think Skeege is going to be like a mother hen trying to collect ducklings, and like they're all going to be running off, and he's going to be trying to bundle them back in, and then there's just going to be Hank and Denny and just doing whatever they do on the flank. I think the biggest problem for this team is kind of related to what you said, but it's going to be Quick. I think controlling Adiski and Tiger would be manageable for Skeege potentially, but trying to control Quick as well when he's not directly involved in it, and he's also kind of going to be impinging on what Skeege is trying to do with his combo by coming in and taking heals and not actually playing on the flank. I feel like if they just got, even if he was shit, just a flank playing roamer, they'd potentially have more of a chance, but maybe Quick will turn out to be, you know, he'll just, someone will say to him, just play with the scouts and frag things, and that's what he'll do. I'm
surprised we didn't see like someone like Kalari in this lineup, because he was playing lately, right?
Yeah,
and he was
for dogs.
Yeah, and he was traditionally always like, not always, but like quite often in teams with Skeege. And I mean, I know there's like jokes made about him, like the fucking Kalari Roma trade or whatever, but I mean,
he would potentially be good for this team.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, he's not great, but he would have been like a really solid like acquisition just to kind of stabilize things and give you like a solid base on the flank. Because I mean, Denny is not exactly a solid base on the flank. He can be like super fucking random. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when it works, it can make a huge impact, like a dream hack. But it's not exactly what you call stability. And I think a team with Skeege, like main calling, really needs stability, because I mean that's his playstyle. He doesn't want his players jumping around and just fucking DMing it and doing their own thing and trying to make magic happen. He really wants like a solid kind of playstyle. Like, it was the main reason we went with him in Reason, like way back. Like before it went wrong, it worked really well because we all kind of had that mindset. But I'm not sure if this team is going to be so compatible with each other long term.
Of all the teams in Prem, this one strikes me as the one that could end up folding halfway through the season.
Yeah.
But hopefully they won't, and hopefully they just end up replacing players if one or two of them fall out. It's kind of heartening to see that they got Hank and Denny, really, because at least they have played together before. So, taking a look at the other teams, we're going to come up to the three at the top, or it should be three at the top. It depends on whether, Cost throws from inside Recent Gaming or Perm fails to arrange wars. But let's tackle Lego first, because Dr. Phil's been sat there all quietly impatient for a while. I hear that your team is unchanged since last season, despite Demul being a little Twitch-spamming bitch, non-LAN attending nerd.
Yeah, that sounds about right. This describes Demul. Fucking LAN-touching bitch. But yeah, he said, I'm not gonna play next season, so we started like, maybe Eisen thought, maybe I'm gonna play Solar. Then we started trying to find scouts and soldiers, and then 1 or 2 weeks ago, Demul comes back, I wanna play again, let me play. And then we put Demul on Scout and Eisen on Soldier for 1 game, and that went so horribly we went back to the old lineup again.
So you guys actually settled on the same lineup as last season now?
Yeah.
Because it's been kind of random playing against you. It's like a different lineup every time.
Yeah, it's the same lineup just because people haven't been around. So it's just we have played 1 day with the full team, and then it's just been Mercs the other days, basically.
What does that mean for you guys in terms of like going to LAN, like potentially? Because I mean, there's quite a few that could possibly come up this year, and you guys Lego is by far the oldest fucking team in TF2 at this point. So I don't expect you guys to fold anytime soon, but like you just.
I don't know about Gamers Assembly. We have a few that's really questionable if they can actually go, me included.
Demul could walk to Gamers Assembly, and he's not going.
Well, you don't know. He might be going. Yeah,
well, he might not be able to walk. I've never seen a picture of him. He might be a bariatric patient. He might be this wide, for all we know. But has he given you a reason for why he's not going to come to LAN?
Well, last time was because it was really like close to when it was actually supposed to happen, like short notice for DreamHack at least. That's what he fucking said. Like
he's hacking.
Yeah, filthy hack at the mood. Wow. Still gonna keep him though. Not gonna kick him.
But guess what I was getting at? It's not like you're just writing off going to LAN. So like you're hoping that people will pull their shit together and you can actually go. It's not like he's joined and said, "I'm never going to a fucking LAN. No. Take it or leave it." It is at least on the table.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
I know, like, at least me, Josh, and Condom, we all want to go to LANs, and I think Sorek is the same. He was really keen on going to DreamHack. And I think Demul would maybe be able to go at some point to some LAN. Hopefully to French or to I-58. I'm gonna go fucking get him in France and put him to LAN if needed. I don't care.
So, it leaves you potentially looking for a Merc then, if you were going to attend one of these LANs, or would you not do that? Would you only go with your full roster?
Well, I would still go with a Merc like we did for DreamHack. 2 Mercs.
That worked well.
Yeah.
So, Lego going to be playing with their full roster. Are you going to be just aiming for a playoff spot again, or are you going... Oh, no, you didn't make it. Well, you would have made the playoffs had it been the arrangement that it is this season. Well, yeah. Well, this season, of course, it is a 4-team playoff as well. That's one of the changes that they've made for this season.
Of course it is. A season.
But, Lego hoping to make it in there, hoping to make it into the top 4. Yeah. But what do you think about that decision, whilst we move sideways slightly from the teams that we still have left to discuss, just to talk about this for a second? They have changed the playoff system. So it's now split over 2 days. It's on Thursday and Sunday. The first game is going to be on the Thursday, so that's the 4th place versus the 3rd place. And then you have essentially the same thing. The playoffs from last season will just all be on the same day again. So in essence, they've just added an extra game on the Thursday. What do you think about that system?
I think it's good. Don't really know why they didn't do it before, because I mean the reason we kind of went to this playoff system was playoffs took too long. So they went to a 3-team playoff, put it all in 1 day, but now they said, okay, actually, we can't have 4 teams. So that's kind of weird, but I mean, I'm glad they did it. I mean, I guess it's just kind of like ETF2L things again. They don't really have much like foresight. It's always like moment-to-moment decision-making, and they always just like think in the short term. But I'm glad that in this case, the short term is a good decision.
Yeah, the only danger that can perceive is the possibility that the third place team might not be available on both the Thursday and the Sunday, but that's just an eventuality you'd have to plan for if you were the team in that position. You know, if you're the fourth place team, you only have to be available for Thursday, but you have to, if you win it, you then have to be available on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problems we always had with 14 players before was nothing was planned in advance. So, like, at least now they're announcing the dates, like, we already know the dates and things like that. So if anyone has, like, a glaring problem with that date, they have a lot of time to figure it out. I think it's good, though. Like, the regular season can get really, it can get really dry at times, especially when it's kind of, like, skill differences and gaps and shit like that. So having, like, a good number of playoff games is a lot better. Like, a 3-team player, it always felt so weird to me. Because it's just, like, I don't know. It didn't really make any sense other than for like pragmatic reasons, but yeah, I think it's going to be good.
What seems strange to me though is that if you're going to be having it over 2 days, if you're going to have it on the Thursday and then the Sunday, and you're going to have 4 teams in it, why would you not run some kind of double elimination system or even like a single elimination bracket rather than this strange system where you're kind of like rotating up the cliff, so 4 plays 3, and then that plays 2, and then that plays 1, because you get less games, you get less of a build-up to the final, you get less of a storyline. I guess it gives more credence to the regular season because you're actually booking your place in the grand final or booking your place in the semi-final by your placing in the regular season. But a lot of leagues manage perfectly fine just by having the regular season as getting into it and having seedings for that tournament at the end. I would have liked to see a slightly larger tournament. I think that there is genuine possibility for that maybe in a future season. I think that's what we should be aiming for because those kind of brackets, those kind of tournaments or cups really build a hype way more than just, you know, individual games.
Yeah, I mean, it always feels to me like E2F2O is like living 5 years in the past or something. I mean, it is. I remember, like, I was playing before we even had playoffs, and the admins had to be fucking like whipped into agreeing to actually have playoffs, because it was before esports was like a real like thing that was established, and you just had like obvious examples to follow. I mean, in this day and age, granted, we're not a big esport by any stretch of the imagination, but there's no reason we can't copy a lot of the formulas from established games that work really well. There's not really any reason we have to have like a playoff system that is completely like original. I don't really got why we have to do things differently.
Oh yeah, of course. Bloodless is just put in the chat as well that ETF2L doesn't actually support double elimination, but maybe you guys should aim to get sponsored by Razer or something and run the playoffs through Razer Arena. And God knows, maybe you generate some prize money as well. But yeah, maybe double elimination is out of the scope of what ETF2L can provide. But
we're still playing single elimination anyway. It doesn't matter if you could still have like 2 semi-finals and a final or something, or like a more like long-winded an actual like mini tournament with 4 teams. We're still playing single elimination anyway, so it seems kind of weird. Like, because there's no real like only one team has a story in the playoffs. Like one team generally, like at least with like the 3-team system, one team plays like more than one match. You know, like if you at least have 2 semis and then 2 finals, it's like how did these teams get here? Because no one remembers the regular season by then. Like it's kind of all about what happened in the playoffs, but there like are no playoffs to look back on. It's just like one team that kind of came through. I don't know. Seems kind of weird, but I guess if they don't have double elim, then I mean, it's been they've been saying that for like 5 years now, that we can't do that because we don't have double elim. I guess it must be pretty difficult to do. So
yeah, they managed to get the Swiss system after they poured all of the prize money they've ever got into one man's pockets, but no double elim, unfortunately. It's the perils of a volunteer website. I understand the struggles, but there are ways to improve what they're doing, I'm sure. For the going back to the teams though, that's what I was going to say. Going back to the teams, let's talk about the team that destroyed Ownage Squad, Reason Gaming, and the roster shuffles. So Zebasai left the team.
Yep.
And from what he said to me, it sounds like it was kind of an assumption, even when he joined, that it would only be for a single season.
Yeah, I don't really get where this whole fucking like Zebo quits post came from, and all the like, oh, I'm so sad Zebo is quitting, he's my favorite player, because he quit after I-55. Everyone knew that. Like, he said he was taking a long break to play CS, and the only reason he came back was because there was a LAN in his home country, and we needed a player. So he joined. You know, Rising couldn't go to LAN. We only really cared about the LAN. So yeah, like everyone knew he was just coming back until DreamHack, and then he was going back to his break or quitting or whatever. So it's kind of weird that everyone made such a big deal about it, but I guess people have short memories. But yeah, it was always the plan, basically. We never expected him to stay. Like, I kind of had a conversation with him, like, a month after we started looking for a scout, and I was just like, you definitely quit, by the way, right? Because I realized I hadn't talked to him about it since DreamHack. I was like, you definitely quit, by the way. I don't want to, so I just realized I'm looking for a scout, and we never actually spoke to him. I just wanted to make sure, you know, the deal was still on, and it was just like the LAN, and it was like, yeah, for sure, obviously. Like, that was the deal the whole time.
So, with him out the picture, you guys started trialing scouts because you were going to be moving Stark over to Roma. So, why did you end up not actually picking up any of the scouts that you trialed?
Well, moving Stark to Roma, it was just like something Stark wanted to do. I think probably still true. He would have preferred to play Roma, but it was about finding a scout that really fit what we wanted to do. Like I think if we'd had a different Roma, a lot of the scouts we tried would have worked quite well. But like with Stark on the flank, like Stark's like one of our best players, and with Stark on Roma, we would want to play in a way that really like enabled Stark to do a lot, and a lot of that means having a scout that's very dedicated to playing on the flank as well. Whereas all the scouts that were available, I think to get the best out of them, we would have had to play a lot more like double scout, like two scouts passive on the heels kind of style, which then basically turns the Roma into a 300 HP battering ram, you know, and it's not really Stark style so much, and it definitely wouldn't have got the best out of him. And when he's like your best player, you probably want to get more out of him than that. So after doing all of that, basically the option to try Drac was there, and we just said let's just try it. And then afterwards we kind of talked about it, and everyone basically agreed this was definitely by far the best lineup we tried. And it was just a matter if Stark would agree to carry on playing Scout, basically, and he did. He just went with the team's decision at the end of the day, and that's how we got there, basically.
Now, was it the best lineup because Stark had switched back to Scout, or was it the best lineup because Drac was actually having a big impact or a impact on Roma that the Scouts weren't having on Scout?
It was both, to be honest. Like, we're better with Stark on Scout. It's a way more impactful class than Roma, and he's the best Scout in, I'm gonna say, the game. Now Clockwork's not playing. He's the best Scout in the world. At least in Europe. Like, if there's some Yankees out there that disagree, he's at least the best in Europe. I think he's the best in the world, so whatever's. But at the same time, Drac was also the most natural fit and like the best player that we tried by far. Like Flippy was like pretty good, like a really good fucking sniper, but like as far as like Drac's Roma versus Flippy Scout goes, Drac's Roma wins every time. And like maybe like Drac and Thalash were probably quite comparable, but with Thalash it was like we're taking a player from an established top team, which kind of made it a less appealing prospect. I know that people are giving us like shit for stealing a player, but like in the most respectful way, until this whole shit blew up, I probably couldn't have told you Ownage's 6 players. So
Kapow!
it's probably like a slightly different situation, right? Like at least in terms of how it affects like people watching the game and stuff. If we, if we fucked over a top team, it's going to have a lot more impact than if we just take a player from like a lower team. I don't think it's anything.
In terms of actual impact on people, I didn't cry myself to sleep when I heard that Thalash might be leaving to join you guys, whereas Turbo Monkey hasn't slept for days, and there's puddles in his room from where he's been both menstruating and crying. So, who have you really done well by here?
Well, that's like not really the way I think about it, really. Like I don't know, I know some of them like kind of, but I don't have any real personal relationships with them to maintain, and it was a team decision at the end of the day anyway. It's not like it's me. I didn't even know Drac was an option until someone said it. So
yeah, I think that all makes sense. So you guys, well, actually, before that, how do you think you guys are going to perform with Drac compared to Zebasai? I mean, I think it's obvious to most people looking at it that it's going to probably be a drop in skill level, at least for the immediate future. Do you think he can get up to that kind of level? Do you think he's actually got the potential to maybe surpass Zebasai and be a truly top-level Roma, esteemed like world-class?
He almost definitely does. And whether he reaches it or not, I think we're a better team either way, long term. Like, Zebo is a sick player, but he's a really, really weird teammate. Like, he has a really stubborn idea about how to play the game, which is definitely hasn't been compatible with me since, like, I46. Like, we played together then, we kind of had the same ideas about the game back then, but since then, we both kind of changed as players. And in any team we've been in together since then, there's always been a huge difference of ideas. So with me main calling and him playing on the flank, it was kind of like, luckily we were good enough that I could make my calls the way I wanted the team to play. And then Zebo could be a player operating basically outside of the system as like a wildcard, and it still worked because he was good enough to pull it off. But it also says something about the teams we played against, that it could work so consistently, because it was a completely inconsistent playstyle. And if there'd been an established team on our level last season, we probably could have been exposed because of it. Whereas with Drac, he's going to do everything and anything the team tells him to, basically, even if it results in him just going 5 and 30 every map or whatever. I think he's the kind of guy that's going to do it. And obviously it's actually not going to be like that, but like, he has all the potential in the world, but he's also like probably an easier teammate to work with than Zebasai. Plus, on top of all that, Zebasai was like, as he probably made clear when you interviewed him for on point, something like that, whatever it's called, I can't remember. Like, he was super bored of the game, basically. He just, like, he was going like 4 and 20 against like bottom prem teams in scrims because he just can't be bothered. Like, he can't focus. And even at LAN, like, he bribed me to let him play Scout for the LAN because he just couldn't be asked to play Roma, and Scout was like slightly preferable to him. So like, that was always like a bit of a chore to deal with. But like, it's fine when you're winning. But like I said, if the competition had been more, we probably wouldn't have been winning. And that's when it gets like to be a real pain. Whereas with Drac, we just have like a super talented guy with like all the potential in the world, and he's actually like a great team player as well.
Yeah, apparently that taxi was only £10.
Yeah, but mate, it was so cold and it was raining. None of us had any fucking money on. We all had like the 20 krona for the bus, and like that was it.
Just whilst we've been discussing your soldiers there, it's just brought me back to a thought that I had as well, and that's about Publiclir amps, and that's your situation bringing on Medico in the roaming role, because he was pretty much only known for his pocket plays in top 5. Why did you bring him in as roamer, and will he be staying as roamer?
Well, everyone knows I'm dreadful at roamer, and on top of that, Medico, he can't lead at all. I can lead to some extent, I can make these calls that a pocket should, but I don't think Medico has that, which was why we didn't consider him for pocket. But actually, I brought it up one day because I was performing pretty badly in scrims, and I just always get that feeling like right after when I've done really badly and I don't feel like I'm going to do better. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to play roamer. It's something new. I'm going to be more motivated to play it. But literally 10 minutes after I suggested it to Medico, and Medico went, sure, he's up for it, I said, nah, fuck it. Let's just stay to what we are doing right now and just get good at that instead. So that's where we are, and that's where we're going to stick to until I change my mind about it again, at least.
Well, interesting. We're not going to be seeing you take the plunge into roaming soldier anytime soon then. Essentially playing the exact same style you are now, but without taking your incredible Ubers.
Well, actually, probably a lot more aggressive and careless than I am at the moment. I'm thinking about what I do at the moment, at least somewhat, you know, about roamer. I just let it all go.
Let it all hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Well then, the only team left is Full Tilt, and
it's dead.
What a tilty McTilt a few days. But yeah, the PCWs we had yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, were a little bit out of whack. It's a fun stream for all the family if anyone wanted to go and catch the VODs.
I only saw in between the games. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty
For someone
interesting.
who didn't have the pleasure of watching, could you give me a bit more of a descriptive version of what happened?
We've kind of been talking. Koss has been getting a little bit annoyed in the team for a while because he's really keen to go to like Gamers Assembly and DreamHack Summer and wants to perform at I-58. And our team is full of people who need to take their nans to BHS whenever a LAN comes up. So, a little bit like Demul. In fact, I'm fairly sure that whenever we go to LANs, they go around to Demul's house and feed him. They're just his enablers. They're just feeding him, like, spooning Ben and Jerry's into Demo's mouth while he sits there like Jabba the Hutt. And but Sil and Ast and Spud wasn't that keen on going, but I think he probably would. Are unable to go to Gamers Assembly at the very least, and so that was causing a bit of friction already. And then Sil made it blatantly obvious last night that he is not having fun playing unless it's really competitively, and he can't seem to take it seriously otherwise, which then really wound Spud up, and Spud went mad at Sil.
He still doesn't have fun unless you're playing really competitively.
Well, no. That's the thing. That's what he says. He says like, "Oh, I'm so bored. I can't take it seriously. We're just messing about. It's never serious when we play scrims. There's no point playing PCWs, etc." So it gives the impression that he would only want to play, officials or something like that. But because he then just messes about in scrims, etc., that wound Spud up, and Spud decided that he'd had enough, rage quit the PCW, annoyed Infused, and left the team. And Cos had already left the team because I didn't give him mod. So he joined the Reason roster, and Spud went off there, God knows where. So it was a bit of a car crash last night, but still picking up the pieces.
And how will they be picked up?
Not sure. Still finding them on the floor actually at the moment rather than picking them up. might need to grab the magnet and the Hoover. So
just tell me Spud's are going to come back. That's the only thing I care about.
I think so. I think the only way of solving it, and I was talking to Sil a little bit before this, and he was saying that if we need to, he said if you want to cut me to go to more events, then do it. I'm fine with that, etc. But the issue essentially is that there isn't anybody as good as Sil in a position to do that, in a position so that we could cut him and still be kind of a top level team, especially when a lot of how our team plays was basically around Sil for the whole of last season. So it's not as simple as that particularly. And also I enjoy playing with Sil, but not when he's playing like he was last night. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what the next step is, but it'll probably involve some roster changes in order to make our team a bit more lannable and serious.
Like who?
I'm not sure.
Hands off tech.
Who are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about tons of different options. That's what I've spent today doing, just looking through all the different options and what I could do.
What does your heart tell you, Sideshow?
My heart says, cut myself, replace me with Alpha, cut Sil, replace him with Tech, cut Spud, replace him with News, cut Thalash, replace him with Morsy Fanshaw, cut Cos, replace him with Turbo Monkey, and only keep Ast. Oh, but then we still won't be able to go to land, so I mean, it still doesn't work then.
I was told you were gonna steal Medico from us. I had to have a chat with him today, asking that if Sideshow was to come to you and ask you to join his team, would you do it? Well, I think he's way too committed to play with you guys. He's not the kind of guy to just ditch me, for Sideshow.
Yeah, he's made this long-standing commitment to your AIDS team that it's not going to make it to playoffs. Where he gets to play Roma that isn't even the class that he's famed for, and gets put into the AMS school of Roma where you go flying in, sacrifice your life.
You're flying, you're launching. Launching, Sideshow.
Yeah. So those are the teams for season 23, but we've already taken quite a while. I think we've already been going for an hour just discussing the teams. So let's crack on with the actual meat of the discussion, which really is the maps.
So stupid!
Sorry, David.
We've got to talk about the maps, because they just got announced.
Tell us, Sideshow, what did they announce?
What did they
have
announce?
The genius eTF admins come up with for this season?
What do they have for us?
They were cooking in their cauldron the delightful maps for this season, and once they put them all into the pot and stirred it around, some bubbling effervescence came off, and they plucked some herbs out of the air and added a sprinkle of coal plant, and it was looking a bit murky in there. They had too many ingredients, so they had to take one out. They thought, which one should we take out? Which map has been hated for a while now, and teams don't enjoy playing it. It doesn't sit well at the top level. Granary is the map, of course. We'll remove that one. Granary Pro has been removed from the map pool in favor of Coal Plant. Thoughts?
It's fucking abysmal.
What place on you like? Why the fuck would you remove Granary of all the maps? Like,
Why is
what was that
Sunshine
straw
still on
poll
the
for?
poll?
Yeah. Like, what was that straw poll even for then?
Doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't get it. Why make the straw poll if it's not gonna have any influence whatsoever?
I think it's a bit insane, to be honest. I think it will appease a lot of the lower level players who still have this kind of mindset when it comes to Granary of like, oh, you can't push. So they just still have these stalemates between mid and second, and between second and last, and things like that. But I think it was the wrong decision. I think there would have been two better decisions, in fact. I don't mind adding Coal Plant at all, but I think first would have been to remove Sunshine, and second would have been to remove Snakewater. Third would have probably been to remove Granary, but I think you should have dealt with the first two options first before even thinking about Granary. Do you think this was done as a move to appease the naysayers on the forums and the lower division players who dislike Granary?
I can't see any other reason why they would do this. Like, I don't really even understand that line of argument, really, though, because they added fucking Coal Plant, which is a pile of crap, and as well as being a complete pile of crap, it's also another Koth map, which half the people fucking hate like as much as Granary already. Like, if there's two maps that like split opinions, like split the most opinions in the map pool, like last season's map pool, it's Granary and it's Viaduct. Like, a lot of people either really like or really hate like both of these maps, and you're replacing one of those with another map that's basically going to be exactly the same, except it's a pile of dog shit. Has all the same elements that people don't like. The fact it's Koth, it's a different game mode to what you're normally playing, but as well as being a Koth map, it's also like a really, really bad one as far as I can tell. It really doesn't make any sense.
I think the people who played it in the Cup actually quite enjoyed it, and I'm not sure how it's perceived in America. But also, to address your first point as well, if you have two Koth maps in the map pool, it no longer becomes kind of this one-off map, one-off game type that you can kind of exclude or just ban outright whenever it comes to like a Cup situation or whatever. You have to actually start to consider Koth as almost an equal to 5CP if it's a ratio of 5-2 rather than 6-1 in the map pool.
But I mean, if you're talking about lower, this is being done to appease lower division players. They're not playing the best of threes where you're eliminating maps like more often than not. Like, compared to the high levels, the lower levels, they're playing seasonal play. They're forced to play these maps on these weeks, and that's it basically. I mean, granted they're gonna have to play more Koth now, but I think this is gonna doubly piss off the people that already don't like Koth. It's not gonna like make them, oh, actually Koth is pretty good. It's not gonna be like that. It's just gonna make them even more mad and get even more bored. Meanwhile, the others will just be playing like really mediocre map. It's like, oh, I don't mind Koth, but like it's just a really, really mediocre map. I don't really understand it at all.
Yeah, I think it's an odd decision. How do you think it will be? Well, let's discuss the reasoning that they gave as well. Who was it that was talking about the reasoning? Was it you, Kaidus? Oh no, it was Admirable, wasn't it?
It was Admirable, right? But I also heard it from someone else. Apparently they like Sunshine over Granary because it's apparently still in active development, whereas like Granary Pro is what it is and it's always going to be that, whereas they hope that at some point CP Sunshine is going to stop being a huge pile of dog shit and turn into a relatively interesting map. But for me that doesn't make any sense because the core of the map of Sunshine is always going to be the same, and the core of the map is inherently flawed. It is just a worse version of Snake War, which is already a pretty mediocre map in the grand scheme of things.
It's like Sonny Black was sat there trying to choose an ornament for his mantelpiece, and he's looking at somebody slaving away, polishing a turd, and in the other corner, he's looking at someone who's made like something fairly decent. He's made like a quite nice wooden sculpture. It's not the best one you've ever seen, but it's pretty decent. And he's just left it in the corner. And he looks towards the man polishing the turd, and he says, "Do you know what? I respect the fact that you are still polishing that turd. Get it up on my mantelpiece right now. Get it up there. And you with your wooden sculpture, you can fuck off." It's a really strange rationale for how he was how he was going about the decision making. I don't think it makes any sense, frankly, because if a map is already decent, it's not like people are saying Granary Pro it needs more development. Why is it not being developed? Anyway, Dagger's around. He could develop the map if anybody wanted to. It is in active development if there were still people providing feedback, but it's a map that was already finished to all intents and purposes by Valve, and he just tweaked a few things. It's not like it's a completely new map.
Like, the fact it's being actively developed, maybe that would lend it like some favor if it was removed and then you wanted to bring it back in a year, and it's like a slightly different map then to how it is now. But if a map is being actively developed and it needs that justification to keep it in the pool, then it's probably not a good enough map to be there. Like, if the only reason to keep it is because it might get better, like, what fucking reason is that to keep a map? That's just like basically an admission that it's not a very good fucking map, but you're like hoping that after people slave away for another 6 months playing a piece of crap, it might turn out okay.
Yeah.
But again, like, I really don't see that ever happening. Like, it has like if you were to highlight like the 3 or 4 like most important factors for what makes a map like not just decent and like what not like a map that just works in 66, but like what makes a map actually interesting and one of like the popular map choices, Sunshine has like absolutely none of them. Like, it has a completely one-dimensional mid. It has a completely stable flank that doesn't promote any kind of like fights or aggression. Like, it's not like a Badlands where it's really easy to get someone behind. Like, it doesn't like there's no like real like interesting way to push last. You just kind of go in and have this really clustered, slow, like drawn out fight. There's like no method to the map that you can put in place because it's just the most bland a map can be. These are like all the same problems that Snakewater kind of had, but because it was just kind of forced on people for so long, it's kind of like we've kind of become accustomed to it, and in a way, it's kind of in a lot of ways changed the way we play the game to a large extent because we've kind of adapted to this kind of a map. But we don't need more of them. Like, Granary, like, at least offers you like a different type of map. It gives you like a different like type of gameplay. Sunshine and Snakewater basically give you exactly the same, and we're just now apparently we're stuck with 2 of them indefinitely.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should put the caveat in there as well that Sunshine is the best of all of the 7th maps that we've had in quite a long time. Like, if you compare it to the previous ones,
yeah,
I'd still rather it be in the map pool than a lot of the other 7th maps that we have. It's not that bad, but it is, compared to the rest of the map pool, almost unanimously considered the worst of the ones that we have in currently. Not in ESEA because they still have Metalworks there, and that's still a point of contention for them. But I think whenever we've done polls of the Prem players or just anecdotally from talking to people, and even once you start going slightly lower down the divisions, people as a rule tend to dislike Sunshine more than the other maps that are in the map pool. But yeah, when I'm talking about it being a turd or whatever, I don't think it's actually that bad. I wouldn't mind having it in a map pool, but if you're going to remove one of them, it should be Sunshine, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I guess like you're right. It's like it's not the worst map we've ever played. It is probably, like you say, one of the better 7th maps we've had. But I mean, we've had some fucking shit 7th maps. Like, that's why we have like Sunshine in there now, because the others were all so bad. Saying it's the best of that lot, it's like what are we fucking talking about? Like Fast Lane, Turbine, like just absolute pieces of crap, basically. No?
Yeah, I think so. The other changes for this season as well, the whitelist that was announced, I mean, the whitelist is available on whitelist.tv. You can just see that under one of the presets. It's the one that they were playing with in the Cup as well, except that the newest change is the removal of the Delicates bar because it has a bug, I can only assume, and they've chosen to actually just remove the entire item, even though I think it will probably get patched within probably a week or 2 of this current date, because the bug has been identified and things like that normally get settled fairly quickly. But they've chosen to remove it along with the eviction notice. I don't agree really with either of those. I think it should be based on the delicate spot thing should be considered a bug that you're not allowed to use, but the actual usage of the weapon should be allowed, and I think that they should have removed the eviction notice.
Yeah, I kind of get like banning the Delicates bar is bugged, but like we can easily change. Like, I hope they like just allow it when it gets fixed, rather than having to wait an entire season. Because I don't think like it being bugged isn't a reason to keep it out of the whole season. But yeah, I'm really perplexed by banning the eviction notice as well. Like, they're trying to expand like the whitelist every season, But then now that Valve are actually actively balancing the game and they buff one weapon, they then start to ban them as Valve are changing them, which seems kind of weird to me. Especially as the whole matchmaking thing gets closer and closer, it just kind of seems like prolonging the inevitable, but for no apparent reason. Right? That was the one that got buffed in like the recent update, right? It gives speed to.
Yeah, it's essentially a mini Gru, but it's a very mini Gru. It really is.
It literally is like
fairly non-noticeable, really. I mean, it is when you compare like YouTube videos of people running side by side, but when you actually utilize it in a game, it's really not noticeable, especially when there's no whip or anything to amplify it.
Yeah, like I don't like. I'm not gonna kick up a fuss about it because I don't think it's gonna make any difference. I mean, it stops you doing a couple of like cool jumps that people found for the heavy when it got buffed, but it's not really gonna make that much difference. I think it's a bad approach, to be honest. Like, if Valve are suddenly like buffing other things and ETF12 is going to ban all of those, then maybe it becomes a bigger problem. But for now, if it's just the eviction notice, it's like a bad precedent to set, but hopefully it goes no further, I guess.
I have a source just now leaked that says Sonny Black was actually in favor of keeping the map pool. It wasn't Sonny Black that's leaked this, by the way, but it's Sonny Black was in favor of keeping the map pool exactly the same, and the rest of the admins decided that the coal plant should be added and granary should be removed.
Why?
But there really aren't any of the Sixes admins. That's the thing with ETF2L at the moment. There are some who play Highlander and Sixes, but I think most of them play Highlander as their first and primary mode, which is a little strange. Maybe Sonny should have kept his grip on European TF2 a little longer.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense because it's not going to like stand basically. Like ETF12 has always been like the competitive European TF2 map pool is the ETF12 map pool, but that's gone. Like surely, like Razor Cups, Zowie Cup, whatever the hell you said was coming up, like LANs. We're not going to do this, right?
Yeah, they're not going to be
surely.
the same as ETF map pool. They've essentially lost their monopoly on it, but I think that was going to happen anyway in a more cup-based system. You would see slight variations in the map pool because we don't have a unified map pool between Europe and North America. If we had a worldwide unified map pool, then I think everything would have the same map pool. But because we have this variability anyway, it kind of lends itself to changing a map here or there in various cups. It essentially means, though, that European teams are going to have to practice an 8-map map pool the same as ESEA are, except it's going to be different maps.
Yeah, I mean, like, I haven't talked to my team since this announcement in particular. Like, we kind of got like a forewarning on it yesterday, but I don't see us playing these 7 maps. I think we'll probably, if we're scrimming and it's like Sunshine Week or maybe Coal Plant Week or whatever, if we're scrimming and other teams want to play it, then sure, whatever. But I can't see us playing these maps, to be honest. I think we'll just make them permabans, or 1 or 2 of them permabans, because I'd much rather play like Granary, and I think other teams will probably be more likely to want to play Granary as well.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really seem worth practicing them. Like, I can't see Coal Plant staying long term. Kind of Sunshine's kind of always been reason to permaban for a while now anyway. So I don't know. It seems like a really bad move by UTF2. I think they really are going to lose their grip on. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they don't want to have this responsibility and they find it more of a burden than anything else. But if it's not what they want, then it's a huge mistake because they're not going to like set the map pool for Europe anymore. Basically, based on this, I think teams are just going to. I think tournaments are just going to kind of move away from that established method of just following ETF2L. Hope they do anyway.
There was another thing as well, but I've completely forgotten it, so hopefully someone can fill in for me. What am I missing before? So there's maps, there was the Whitelist, there's something else. It was in there, it was on the tip of my tongue, but now I've lost it. Oh, that's what it was. It was something that someone messaged to me, and none of you are going to know about it, so I don't know why I was asking you. It's the freeze time has been increased as well. It hasn't actually been announced, but I have it on semi-good authority, pretty good authority, that the freeze time is going to be increased. Similar to matchmaking, although not all the way, I don't think, to 10 seconds rather than 5, so an extra 5 seconds of freeze time at the end, as as a way of introducing it, I guess, or maybe they just don't agree with the full 15 seconds. Who knows? Anyway, but I think any addition to that is a good addition. Someone break it down for the viewers as to what that will actually mean for them playing in ETFL this season.
Basically what it means is whenever you're capping a round, the time at the end where you're all running around chasing down beaven frags, you can have an extra 5 seconds to do that now. And if you're smart, you're going to use that for talking about the next mid or talking about a mistake you're repeatedly making or whatever. But basically it means for every round you cap in a 5CP map, you're going to lose 5 seconds off the game clock. But you lose it for a good cause, basically. Like, this is something I've wanted for probably years. I requested it to the admins before, and they turned it down. But I think Ips actually went to Sunny Black with this and just, in an Ips-esque way, beat it into him until they finally accepted it. Because I mean, it benefits everyone basically. I mean, the players get more time to talk about things that they don't really have. Because I mean, a lot of people think you can talk about stuff on rollout, but for a lot of teams, like for my team, for example, if we're talking about what we're doing on the next mid or trying to fix a mistake, I'm doing like rollouts. I'm like sticky jumping and whatever. I don't have time to talk about that stuff like then. So I think it's really good for that. It adds like much needed downtime for casters. I think there's always been a huge like lack of empty space, like empty time to fill between. Huge lack of time between rounds for casters to actually analyze what just happened or to talk about like the mid that's coming up. There really isn't enough time. Hasn't been enough time for that. So I think it's really going to benefit the casters and therefore the viewers. I think it's a really good decision. Like the only thing negative I have to say is should have been done probably 2 years ago when people first started asking for it. But yeah, and David's right. Remember, yeah, it also means like the production can actually do more things with like replays and stuff like that. So if something interesting happened, they can look back on that and actually have time to look at it rather than suddenly you watch a replay and suddenly like a scout's already died on mid or whatever's happened when they tried to do it in the past.
Yeah, you missed the rollouts and people complain about it. People go mad in the chat when you miss the Demo Man rollout or something by putting a replay over the top because they want to see who's hit their rollout or whatever. So.
Also, something I didn't say is it actually gives you time to change unlocks between rounds. I mean, like, there's never really been enough time in league play. Like, if you say, I don't know, you're a demo, you took Quickie Bomber for a last push. If you didn't have a bind to change that, quite often you'd suddenly have Quickie Bomber for mid because you just didn't have time to change it. Whereas now you'll actually have time to not only change it, but maybe even a few seconds to think about it if you want to change something else as well.
What are your feelings, Dr. Phil, about this season in general? What do you think about the changes that they've made? Whitelist, unlocks, the playoff system, the whole thing. How do you think it's going to...
Playoff system better, unlocks not that big of a difference. Team-wise, I think... might be a bit less competitive, like might be a bigger skill gap between top and bottom.
I think they really should remove Sunshine. I don't mind Copeland. I think it's fun, it's fast paced, but I think removing Granary is not really what
not the way to
I
go.
would want, at least, yeah. But I think I don't really mind the unlocks. I don't think there's anything really groundbreaking.
Do you
I don't know.
Do either of you think you'll see any of the ones that have actually been allowed to be used? We were talking mostly about the ones that actually got banned rather than the ones that got used, which I think shows how kind of useless these ones are. But do you think we'll see any of these actually get used in the games?
Don't know.
Maybe. I don't think so. Can't really see any like upsides of using any of these unlocks.
Yeah, they did a Tide Turner, didn't they? You're definitely going to see people fucking around with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you're going to see it in any legit context.
The Tide Turner and the Persian Persuader, so that they can just bop from frag to frag. You'll see Gink and Silentus using that in every pug from now until season.
Pugs are going to be rip.
Yeah, they say that every time though. They eventually iron out after everyone gets bored with abusing the unlocks for a while.
Yeah, we say with direct hit and all that shit.
Yeah, I think Well, oh yeah, that was the thing as well. The Pomson as well. They were going to allow that, and as far as I know, the only reason, yeah, it was in the cup, right?
Yeah, it was in the cup. I didn't see it used though. I don't think once.
Even
when Garbled was played, I don't think it was used. Maybe I just didn't notice it. But
I was trying to tell Flip on his stream to use the Pomson, but he couldn't
play engineer because
he couldn't
had
even
his
build
spines
sentries.
He built a sentry, and then Atomic told him to move it to a better place, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know how to pick this up."
I've genuinely never seen a worse engineer in my life. He's got 30 seconds. No, what is it? 60 seconds?
Yeah.
60 seconds of setup time. He builds a dispenser, doesn't hit it once, just watches it build like he's in awe of it building in front of him, and then has to run around and get some more ammunition, and then hits his dispenser so that it doesn't quite get up to level 2, runs around, gets some more, and then builds a level 1 sentry, and that's what he had by the time the setup time was over. He had a level 1 sentry and a level 1 dispenser. It was incredible. But the only reason they didn't put the Pomsum in is because it had that bug where if you shoot through people, the particle disappears. So what do you think about it as a concept? If there wasn't the bug, should it have been allowed?
No, dude, that's a completely garbage weapon. Like, I'm a lot more open-minded to unlocks than I used to be, and probably, But some weapons in the game are just garbage. Like, they're completely broken concepts that have absolutely no place in, like, any legitimate game. They're just, like, they just completely, like, take you out of the immersion. They're not balanced. They're not fun. They don't add anything other than this weird, like, random factor. Like, it kind of blows my mind that the eviction notice gets a slight buff, so heavies are moving slightly faster, and they just ban it outright. And then at the same time, they're trying to fucking add, like, the gun that you lose nothing for equipping and using, but can potentially just, by sheer random chance, it's like having a double donk that fucking removes Uber, basically. Like, you lose, like, holding last, you lose absolutely nothing for having it, but you can just gain so much, like, with the roll of a dice, basically.
Yeah. I've wrote paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs on ETFL and TFTV trying to persuade people about the exact same thing, so I won't go on about it here, but yeah, I'm exact same opinion. No comment from Phil. They're Pomson supporters.
I haven't really seen the weapon in action, so...
Yeah, it was allowed in the cup. I don't have any idea if someone used it. It didn't affect us whatsoever. No one even mentioned anything about it. Like, we went into the cup and no one even pointed out that it was allowed. We just kind of realized afterwards that, yeah, could have used that, but... I don't really see... I guess if you just spam it in an angle where someone's pushing from, they might lose a bit of Uber, but, like, you're gonna have to follow up on it pretty fast to get anything out of it. Anyway, right? So
I guess if you're playing the cup though, like, you're playing kind of weird maps where you don't have established, like, routes. Like, it's not like you played Badlands where you can just spam that shit top lobby from last, and you might catch the medic when he's trying to push. Like, there's no like I guess people don't really know where to expect pushes to come from, like, by such, like, defaults as they do on, like, the established maps. So the cup probably didn't show it, like, at its full potential.
Yeah, true.
I mean, maybe on Logjam, but I mean, I guess you were playing a Cough and, like, quite an open, like, AD map.
we, like, never run engineer on last anyway, for obvious reasons that we've said it before, so...
So, whenever people are playing against Publiclir, can they expect never to see an NG on last because your scouts are incapable of building sentries? Is that a real strat?
Valuable
Maybe if Flip
information.
learns how to bind things and how engineer works, we're gonna send him on a public server to figure it out.
Is that not, like, quite an easy thing that would improve
Apparently
the
not.
defensive capabilities of your team?
No, it's
Maybe.
not that easy.
Apparently
But
not.
then if Flip hit something with the Pomson, he wouldn't realize what he did anyway, and definitely not be able to comment out, so we wouldn't know if they lost Uber.
Alright, well, let's start wrapping this up then. While we wrap it up, let's have a brief overview of the other things that are confirmed to happen, or likely to happen in 2016. Along with this, we've got a Zowie Cup coming up that I haven't told anybody about, but it's coming up.
But
And
everyone
then-
knows about it.
Well, not everyone knows about it either, but now hopefully they will. Expect it by the end of this month. Then we've got Gamers Assembly as well. Are we seeing Lego and Publiclir there? And Reason?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
And what? I missed it.
Gamers Assembly.
Oh, yeah, that's like the end goal of our team at the moment. It's like I'm not gonna say we don't care about what happens in ETF tool. We're gonna do our best and try to finish as high as we can. But like the team is like every single player that we got in. Like the number one thing was, can you make Gamers Assembly? We want to go there and we want to do well there.
And then DreamHack Summer as well, which isn't confirmed but should hopefully be happening. Hopefully it should be slightly larger than the dark dingy corner of the exhibition hall that was DreamHack Winter. But hopefully we'll see some top teams there as well. And then we've got I-58, which I guess you guys have all heard the juicy gossip about the 4-continent, 6-team madness.
Wouldn't
Yes,
it just be
you
fucking
also
tragic?
very
if they all-
hyped.
Imagine if like Asia, Australia, and America. I mean, what are we talking like $30,000, $40,000 to get there, and then like matchmaking comes out like I don't know after they've all bought their tickets like a month before.
And we're all playing CL2.
Either that, we're either playing an extinct game mode that's just completely irrelevant, or we're just playing a brand new CL2 game mode that no one has a fucking clue what's going on.
I mean,
glorious.
we're joking about it now, but I think it's
I
actually
feel like
incredibly possible.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's destined to happen, man.
I don't
Of course
even
it
think
is.
it's. I don't even think it's like a likely, but far out possibility. I think it is the most likely possibility that we end up organizing stuff and then matchmaking hits way before, like in between us organizing stuff and I-58, and we end up having a totally different game mode. I said this at I-55 that I thought I-58 would be just completely different and we wouldn't be playing sixes. I thought I-55 was like the last I-series of what we think of as 6v6, but this could be pretty weird.
Imagine the fucking drama though. Like, what the hell would we do? Like, there'd be such a split of opinion.
Yeah, I've no idea. It'll require
would
some
have to
people with
enforce.
vision. Nymphe will have to have some leadership and vision.
Yeah.
Who knows, but it's going to be interesting times. Either way, I think that about wraps us up. Any further comments on ETF12 Season 23? You want to throw some more slurs out against the admins?
Or we
Or
do predictions or something like that.
oh yeah, of course, yeah. Go on then, run us through some predictions. Sorry, I'm not the host. Where is Admirable? Get his fat bald head back over here. Go on then, Kaidus. Lead us with your predictions from 1 to 8 in Prem.
I think we're gonna win. I wish I hadn't gone first. I wish I hadn't even reminded you. Someone else go first. I need to think about it.
Fuck.
No,
Yeah.
you're on the
Sure,
point.
you go-
You're on
no,
the
no.
point now.
Okay, I'm just gonna take my time then. You can feel free to fill this empty space.
Jesus Christ, right, Amps. Fucking hell.
Can I exclude our team from it? I
Yeah,
don't
you
wanna
can
give us a
exclude your
position.
team from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reason first, full tell second if you guys get solid replacements. Planet Express, no, Lego above Planet Express, so Lego third, Planet Express fourth. I think Foreskins comes fifth, then maybe Infused, and then DD5F.
Phil?
I'm gonna go be ballsy and cocky and say Lego is gonna win, because why not? Gotta believe. And then reason, full tilt, Planet Express, probably Publiclir, Foreskins, and then in the bottom Team Infused or DD5F, or whatever they're called.
Back to Kaidus.
Okay. I'm gonna say Lego second. I'm gonna go full tilt third because I don't know what your roster is gonna be, so I find it difficult to say you're definitely gonna be top two. But I think you'll be second or third. But I think Lego can come second. I'm gonna say I don't know. It's tough. It actually is quite a tough one this season. Like these kind of middle teams like Planet Express and Publiclir. I have no idea which way around to put them. I'll say Publiclir will come fourth, Planet Express fifth, Foreskin sixth, DD5 seventh, and Infused eighth. I think, but I mean, it could be so different. Like I think the most interesting things to watch is like this contest between like second to fifth, like with Full Tilt, Lego, Publiclir, and Planet Express. I think that's going to be like the highlight of the season, watching those four teams kind of play around. I mean, maybe that sounds arrogant. I don't really know, but that's just kind of my feelings at the start of the season. But I think that's like where the season is going to be like most interesting to watch, and it's like the most unpredictable.
I think that's reasonable. I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for reason at the top, assuming Drac doesn't blow a fat cock. Full tilt in second. I'm gonna go Planet Express third. I'm gonna put them in third place because I think they're going to play very well against Lego and Publiclir. I think they may well get absolutely smashed and maybe even drop some maps to other teams, but I think they're going to beat Lego and Publiclir to that third place spot, even if they have to go into the playoffs and do it then. And then Lego, then Publiclir, and then go Foreskins, DD, and Infused bottom purely because they fold halfway through the season. I think Infused can potentially take maps off people, but I'm pegging them for folding. I don't think they're a team that looks like they're going to stay together, to be honest. And that's us. Shoutouts to whoever. Go wild.
Shout out to V2 for keep fixing my hut. A shout out to all the Danes from old Lego, and shout out to Lego boys. The Mool in chat. Fucking little Twitch hole.
Shout out to my team. And shout out to Barca Philip from Twitch chat and Wendem from Twitch chat. And also Sil.
Kato, hello.
No.
Paging Kato.
I have nothing.
No shoutouts. I know, I have nothing either. Get out of my face, you filthy scrubs.
Can I make more shoutouts quickly before we end?
Jesus Christ, you're a whore.
Yes, I am. So what?
Go wild.
Shout out to Lucy, Amy, and Ryan. There we go. Getting fucking spammed here, Jesus.
Peace.